Hi, welcome to another Excel and Excel video. I'm Coach Abby and we will be discussing the IFS family of formulas. So we'll be discussing several formulas sa video na ito. Don't worry, we have more in-depth discussions about each formula already on our Excel playlist. Check that out if you haven't yet. But here, we will try to have a longer video pero dadaanan natin yung causality from the simple if to the SUMIFS, AVERAGEIFS, COUNTIFS, and so on and so forth. So I hope you join us and you learn something new today. Now, let's discuss yung mother of all the if family members, no? Yung ating if formula. So, sa if formula, basically, as you can see the diagram, meron lang tayong condition. Yung condition na yun, kapag na-satisfy, it will output kung ano yung define natin as value if the condition is met, and all the rest, yung defined value kapag hindi naman na-meet yung condition. So, ibig sabihin, with one condition is either fulfilled or not fulfilled lang. Wala siyang gray area, wala siyang in between. So, for example, we have a cell here with a value of A. If I go to the formula here, you could see meron tatlong parts. So, equals if, ito yung syntax na natin, open parentheses, we have first the logical test. Ano yung gusto nating ma-meet na criteria? Now, we will walk through all the commonly used na ways na maglalagay tayo ng conditions later. Pero for this example, basic lang. Gusto natin, equal siya sa text value of A. Now, if this is the condition and it is met, we will move on to the next part ng syntax, which is the value if true. So, kapag nasatisfy niya tong logical test, it will output the text yellow. Now, if hindi niya ma-meet to, it will output the text na blue. So, ganyan yung simple na syntax ng if formula. Basically, sinasabi lang natin ano yung condition, ano yung result kapag na-meet ang condition, and ano ang consequence kapag hindi naman na-meet ang condition. Now, we have another diagram over here sa right. So, again, itong buong rectangle na to is all the possibilities na nag-exist. But you can see, we have two conditions na in-apply natin. So, first, yung yellow, kung saan if the cell here, ito yung formula natin, if this cell, which is J25, is letter A yung nakalagay, yellow yung mag-a-appear na sagot. Now, consider it like having a piece of paper, tapos kapag na-fulfill ito, naipilas na natin siya or we cut it off. So, hindi na siya part ng ating pag-a-applyan ng second natin na condition. Kasi kung na-satisfy na to, then it will show yellow. However, we will put in another if formula dun sa part nung value if false, causing a chain reaction. Ibig sabihin, kapag hindi na fulfill itong first formula, it will again put in another if formula, and you can put another condition, which is kapag B naman siya, green yung mag-a-appear. So, value if true, value if false is replaced by another if formula. So, ang nangyari is, i-check niya ngayon, kung hindi siya A, then B ba siya? So, kung B siya, green ang mag-a-appear na word. Now, we have the value if false na part nitong ating condition here, and this will apply to all the other possibilities na pwedeng mag-present. Kasi, if it's neither A nor B, it will appear as blue. Now, let's check out yung ating formula. So, letter B, so green siya, which is correct. If I put in A, yellow siya. If I put in C, it is blue. And even if I delete this, it will show blue. Kasi all the other possibilities, blue na siya, except for A and except for B. So that is how the nested if works. Just remember that the position of your if condition matters a lot. Kasi nga, it goes from left to right in terms of pag-fulfill ng inyong condition check. So I hope this clarifies a little bit more kung ano yung logical series natin. Ngayon, for newer versions of Excel, which is meron tayo ngayon sa Office 365 kasing gamit natin, you can do away with the nested if condition and instead use yung ifs natin na formula. Sa ifs formula, instead of having a nested series, pwede kang gumamit ng syntax na ifs, IFS, open parentheses, then just list down your conditions. So, ang mangyayari, J29 is equal to A, condition 1, or logical test 1. Then, what will be the value kapag na-fulfill ito? Next is another condition. Anong value po na-fulfill naman ito? And so forth. So, we will cause a chain reaction din. Pero hindi na siya nested. Ngayon, kailan ka gagamit ng if at kailan ka gagamit ng ifs kung may option ka naman? If you have more than, sabihin natin, a few conditions, magandang tingnan yung ifs kasi nga, hindi ka na mag-worry about your parentheses. You will just list down the criteria and then the result. Ang problema lang sa ifs is wala siyang consideration kapag value is false. So, wala siya nung catch natin na kapag hindi na-fulfill itong lahat, ano siya. For example, if I put in letter C here, you can see mag-e-error siya. Kasi wala tayong nilagay na value if 1 and 2 is false. What you can do to fix this is you can put an if error. So, pag if error siya, ibig sabihin, wala siyang value nakita, you can key in maybe a blank or a blue na word. And you can see na mag-i-act din siya katulad nung sa ating original na ifs formula dito. So, again, yan lang naman yung limitation ng ifs formula na meron sa if formula. Pero, pag tinignan natin, at least sa ating mata, mas madaling i-apply yung ifs formula kung marami tayong conditions. So, now that we talked about the basics of if and ifs, imamigrate na natin sa mas practical na application natin. So, for a practical example, we have first the if formula here, kung saan we can use a nested if para magsabi kung ano yung rating for this grade. So, ang grade natin is nasa column H, okay? Tapos, ito yung ating legend. So, ito yung ating criteria. Sabi natin, pag less than 75 needs improvement. Pag 75, papuntang less than 90, pass siya. Kasi pag tumutong siya ng 90 and above, may award siya. So, awardee dapat yun nakalagay. So, in our nested if, we have if, open parentheses, itong GWA niya is greater than or equal to 90. So, we started from the top. Okay? So, this time, 90 muna. We take that out. Awardee siya. Kapag hindi siya awardee, ano siya? We will proceed to the next level, which is greater than or equal to 75 siya dapat para mag-pass siya. Then, all the rest falls under needs improvement. Now, you can see na nag-progress siya from highest to lowest. Hindi kasi pwedeng unahin natin yung greater than or equal to 75 na condition. Kasi, everything that is equal or greater than 90 also falls under this condition. Kaya dapat, dun muna tayo sa pinaka-superlative. Or, kung i-flip natin, dun sa pinaka-mababa, where we start with, if it is less than 75, needs improvement. If it is less than 90, then it is passed. Tapos, kapag hindi, all the rest will fall under awardee. Ganun yung logic kapag nested if. Now, you can see na it worked for all our grades. Katulad ng inaasahan. Now, kung hindi naman ifs ang gagamitin, ano naman yung options natin? So, this time, gamitin natin yung ifs formula. Sa ifs formula, again, we only have the condition, then the value, if true, condition, value if true, condition, value if true. Again, we go from top to bottom, greater than or equal to 90, awardee, greater than or equal to 75, passed, greater than or equal to 0, needs improvement. That is how we analyze our ifs formula naman. We also have a bonus formula. Now, this is something na pwedeng natackle na if you have mastered yung ating look of family naman. This is the switch formula. So, sa switch formula, basically, we will put in the formula equal switch, then true. Ibig sabihin, kapag lagyan mo yung true dito as your first part, which is your expression, then you can proceed with creating your criteria na lang. Ibig sabihin, ito yung value 1, result, value 2, result, value 3, result. So basically, it's gonna be the same thing as an ifs formula. It's just that meron ka lang additional part where you say true siya. Kasi yun yung magiging expression niya para mag-work yung iyong switch formula. Again, just another option. Pero basically, the ifs formula will still work best kasi yun pa rin yung pinakamaikling option natin. Since we're talking about the ifs family, hindi tayo mag-stop lang sa if and ifs or sa switch. We will go and proceed to the different numerical calculations naman. So before we proceed, I would like to describe muna yung ating table here. So ito yung ating raw data. We have the date, the department, location, and cost natin. So over here sa taas, naglagay lang ako ng subtotal na formula dyan para later on when we filter it out, makikita natin yung ano ba yung sum nitong value na nandito sa column na to. If you're not familiar with the subtotal formula, basically, it will give us the running amount depende sa filter. For example, if I filter this to show only Avogadro department, you can see na inad niya lang itong apat na cell na to, 19,313 lalabas dito. Again, this is just to make it easier sa ating pagwa-walk through. So let's proceed and talk about the SUMIF formula. So the SUMIF has three basic syntax na parts. Meron siyang range, meron siyang criteria, and then the sum range. Yung sum range ay kung anong column or anong range yung i-add up niya. So for range dito, we will select kung saan niya i-apply yung criteria sa second part, and then the third part is ano yung i-add up niya. So first, we'll try kapag one condition or exact lang. In this case, gusto natin query yung department niya. So ang syntax natin is equals SUMIF, and then open parentheses, you have your cost department. Yung cost kasi yung name ng table natin. So basically, itong section na to, itong column na to, and then our criteria is dapat mag-match siya dito sa cell F4, which is query. Now, if you want the text siya, you can replace it and type it out. Pero again, you have to remember that meron dapat quotation marks kapag nag-spell out tayo. Okay? So if I click enter, you can see sabi niya 43,728. So copy lang natin yung ating value, tas check natin. So 43,728, 43,728 siya dito. So, we move on naman dun sa range kapag meron tayong isang condition pero gusto natin, for example, kunin lahat ng transactions na nangyari earlier than August 1. So, in this case, ito yon 731 and 731 here. So, ang formula natin is this. So, this is our syntax. So, we have SUMIF, and then again, yung date naman ang basis natin. So, we selected that as the range. Yung criteria natin, naglagay tayo ng open and close parentheses sa ating symbol na less than. Now, if you want less than or equal to, itatabi lang natin siya dito. Ganun siya. Kapag less than, ganyan lang din siya. And then, end, nilagay natin, concatenate natin, dinagdag natin yung cell F6 kung saan nandun yung date natin. So, if I click enter, ayan siya, 12669 daw. Sige, try ulit natin. Copy natin siya dito para makita natin kung pareho. And then we select yung ating dates na July kasi hindi siya, it's earlier than August. And you can see, nag-match up siya. 12669. So, tama yung ating formula. Kapag gagamit naman tayo ng partial match, ang syntax lang natin basically is we add an asterisk dun sa part kung saan we allow a partial match. For example, gusto natin kunin lahat ng sum kapag the department starts with the letter C. So, ang ating criteria will be, meron tayong quotation marks and then we have the C followed by the asterisk. So, it starts with the letter C or begins with the letter C. Let's try it out kung tama itong ating amount. Here sa filter, we can use the text filter na begins with C or manually select. Either way, it will give us 63148 matching our formula output. If it ends with a specific phrase, yung asterisk ililipat lang natin sa first part. So in this case, if we want na mag-end siya sa plant, then meron tayong criteria na asterisk plant. So pag sinubukan natin yun sa filter, ends with plant, Ayan. So, tama rin yung ating formula. Now, if we want na kalagitnaan siya or pwedeng harap or likod, we just put the condition sa gitna ng dalawang asterisk. Okay? So, in this case, if it contains the word major, ito yung kanyang value. Paste ulit natin just for checking. And then we have contains. And we have the correct value as well. Ngayon, paano naman if we don't want to include or we want to find out kung ano yung hindi nagko-contain ng word na yon? Now, this applies to all the partial matches kung beginning and contains. Kailangan lang na yung ating syntax lalagyan natin ng greater than and equal bago yung ating phrase or condition sa criteria. So, ibig sabihin lang nito, it does not o wala siyang partial match nitong word na major. So, in this case, ang filter naman natin ay does not contain major. You can see, nag-match din yung ating results. That is how you create your criteria for your if family. Okay? So, now that we know that, we can move on to our SUMIFS. The family of formulas, meron silang ifs na counterpart. Ibig sabihin, if you have more than one criteria, you can use a SUMIFS instead of a SUMIF, an AVERAGEIFS instead of an AVERAGEIF, and a COUNTIFS instead of a COUNTIF. Pag SUMIFS yung ating ginagamit, dito sa part na to, ang gagawin lang natin is basically, ilalagay natin yung sum range sa umpisa. Kasi, yung series of criteria and criteria range will follow. So, for example, meron tayong dalawang criteria. Gusto natin yung department should begin with the letter C and the date should be scope ng August. So, meron lang ako nilagay dito na value, no? So, ang August 1, numerical value niya is this. August 31, ito ang numerical value niya. Ito yung gagawin nating reference lang ng formula para mas madaling makita yung logic natin. So, we have here yung ating syntax for or yung ating formula for SUMIFS. You can see yung parts niya, SUMIFS, and then you have your cost first. So, yung cost natin, yun yung ating i-add. Then, you have your series of criteria. The cost department should start with letter C. The date should be greater than or equal to this, which is the corresponding value of August 1. Then, it should be also less than or equal to this, which is the corresponding numerical value of August 31. So, if you click enter there, you can see 59405 yung ating output. Pag nilagay natin siya dito, i-check natin yung ating filter ng subtotal. So, gusto natin August lang. So, ang isa-select lang natin is August. And then, we will start with letter C here. So, select na natin C, Charlie, and Curie. Ayan, you can see 59405 and tama yung ating formula. Gagamitin din natin yan sa AVERAGEIFS. But the AVERAGEIFS is you will get the average nung iyong filtered na items. You can see here, same lang yon yung formula natin. Ginawa lang natin ang AVERAGEIFS instead of SUMIFS. And sa ating demo, ayan, so ito yung ating total, no, nung mga na-average natin. And you can see na ang average niyan is 4243.21. Ayan. So, pag in-average natin yan, 4243.21. Yun din yung finilter natin kanina. So, it's the same logic applied sa SUMIFS and AVERAGEIFS. One more thing that we will discuss before we end is the COUNTIF and COUNTIFs. Ano yung difference? Kapag kinount lang kasi natin, we will only count the instances na nangyari siya. So, hindi siya sum, but the number of times it appears. So, if we use the same criteria, starts with the letter C in department, and this time ay yung kanyang cost is greater than or equal to F22, less than or equal to G22. Again, the same range that we used kanina. wala tayong nakalagay na sum range. Diretso na siya sa range natin kasi it will only count kung ilang beses siya nag-appear or ilang rows or ilang values yung nag-satisfy nito. So, if we filter this again, August. So, 14 yung ating value, no? And then it starts with C dapat. You can see here we have 14 instances ng ating data. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So, tama yung ating calculation. So, that is the ifs family. That is the different types of criteria, and that is how we apply it when calculating. But I hope this helps you out. Magamit nyo sa inyong mga tasks. And again, if you have questions, requests, let me know, and we'll line it up for future videos. I'm Coach Abby. Thank you for joining us, and see you sa next nating video.